Come, Patriots fans, we are to go on an adventure all the way out to Wisconsin, Green Bay. For pretend season game number 2 is nigh, Andy Hart and all the Foxborough faithful and good people of Patriots Nation. That's right. Preseason game number 2 is on the horizon. Patriots at Packers. Can the Patriots improve on their offensive performance from week 1 against the Texans? God, I hope so. Will the defense remain as stalwart, or at least the starters? Chances are they'll actually probably face some starters this week. Special teams battles galore. Will this game be entertaining? All these questions and so many more to be answered on today's edition of Six Rings and Football Things with your old pals Nick Fitzy Stevens and Andy Jumbo Hart. Brought to you by your friends at WEEI Odyssey and 2400 Sports. And don't forget, we are sponsored by the good people at FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel, make every moment more. Stick around on today's podcast. The first half is a mailbag where we're answering the questions asked by you, the fanatics of Patriots Nation. We'll give you some insight on some of these questions, provide you with the best information we've gotten from joint practices and beyond. In the second half, we will preview Patriots at Packers and provide you with the FanDuel Sportsbook 6 Rings Bet of the Week. Gentle reminder, last week, we started off hot, 2-0. I bet under last week as 36.5. Final score 20-9. Felt good about that one. Andy had the Texans. Spoiler alert, we may have similar bets this week, or will we? Stay tuned. Andy, what's on your mind right now as we make our way through the joint practices? Week number 2, Pat's looking to improve, better showing. Bill Belichick doesn't seem to really care as much about the preseason as the rest of us do. It's just... Is it even an audition? How does Bill Belichick look at the preseason? There's your first question.
I think opportunity for the lessers. I think he focuses more on that. I think the joint practices, which they're in the midst of with the Packers and we'll have next week in Tennessee, I think that's where he looks to get work done. You know, there were the reports yesterday. He lost his mind a little bit after one rep, and he's very much invested in the practice field. And Mac talked about how they were replicating something they'd succeeded at and didn't, and there was a communication issue. And I think he's dialed in, locked in during joint practices. Preseason action, I think he sees more for the sort of the next tier of the roster. It's more important to. And then from a what are we looking for, what's going on kind of perspective, I don't, even Evan Lazar, who I think is generally positive towards the team, and he was long before he ever started working for the team at Patriots.
Right. He's part of team media, analytics driven at times, but yes, he's mostly on the pro Patriots side.
I believe, as he wrote it about the offensive line, not pushing the panic button, but hand is hovering over said panic button or something like that. And
again, there we are. We are the ones, people. I know you like to. Fitzy's a hump and too obsessed with the language and the bad jokes, and Hart is such a hardo, and he's Mr. Football. We're out in front of every single one of these storylines that eventually, once Patriots.com, NBC Sports Boston, maybe other national outlets pick it up, then it's a story. But oh no, don't listen to us months before Marcus Jones gets his first snap on offense, as we tell you there'll be a better team with Marcus Jones. We've been calling it the bum fight in the Hobo Rumble since freaking March.
And it's playing out as that, and maybe even more so. Even Trent Brown, who I kind of mocked 2 weeks ago when he spoke, a week ago, it all blends together when he was like, we'll be fine. We all hang out together. We'll be fine once we get out there. Yesterday was not quite as optimistic and was kind of like, yeah, we need to get our guys out there and run some reps and get moving. But yesterday was a perfect example. They were cruising offensively, doing some nice things. Then they went more situational game situations, and the wheels fall off. It is sacks, it's penalties, and certainly some of it is rookie mistakes. You have Antonio, not Antonio, Antonio. Mafi out there. You have City So at right tackle now. You have Riley Reef bumping into guard. You just have a little bit of a mess. I mean, it's great that Trent Brown's back out there, now out there in pads working with that group, but they still have a long ways to go. Adrian Clem is probably not sleeping all that well these days in whatever hotel he's in, whatever rental he's in Foxborough.
And why would Billy O'Brien and Andy, to dovetail off of that, why would Bill O'Brien be sleeping well these days? Because just because Adrian Clem has his work cut out for him, everything that he's able to do or unable to do or what he needs to do ties directly into the success of Bill O'Brien, the reconfigured offense, the new players, the rookies, and of course, the redemption tour or the needed improvement of Mac Jones as well. Matt Light was kind enough to join us earlier in the week on the Six Rings podcast. And if you missed it, it was a great chat. Listen to Matt's words on leadership, on what it's like to be a football player, working with Billy O'Brien, his fond remembrance of Adrian Clem, so much more. And don't forget to make a donation to the Light Foundation and register for the fun sweepstakes he has for the week 1 game. CelebrateTB12.com. You can buy your entries to get a chance to win a photo op with Tom Brady, as well as tickets to Eagles at Patriots.
Will he be bringing his new supermodel girlfriend?
All right. We don't know about that. I don't know if Miss Shake was part of the equation.
Is that her name? Shake?
Irina Shake.
Must be Jay, because don't shake like that.
Nope. Once again, thank you very much, FanDuel, for sponsoring this very appropriate and family-friendly football.
Shake your money maker.
All right. We're going to shake it up by getting back on track. All right. Anyway,
I get
Matt was talking about
right in.
No, whoa, what? That is just a terp. Yeah, let's just please go ahead. It was at the 6-minute mark. Thank you very little. So this is what it's like, and I feel like a kindergarten teacher. Even your dog behind you, if you're watching on YouTube, stood up and he was like, he's like, hey, screw this, I'm out of here. So anyway, where were we? Good. All right, let's start again. This is Six Rings and Football Things, brought to you by
FanDuel.
FanDuel, exactly. What was brought to you by FanDuel? Sounds like Andy's angling for a different sponsor. So Matt Light was talking about why he believes the offensive line can work, but as simple as it may be, it's all just about health and reps. And if you can't get these guys out, like if there's not good communication, if you don't have good health, if you don't have continuity, there won't be any success. And, he said also like the energy of Bill O'Brien and Adrian Clem is going to help. And it was so visible last year that there was poor coaching and terrible communication. And that's why the frustration built on the line, spilled into Mac, and then was team wide. And I get this terrible feeling that if the offensive line has issues once again, no matter how good the coaching from Clem and O'Brien is, no matter how great the play scheme and design is, Andy, we may see, I'm not saying it's going to look like last year's offense, but we may see similar issues because it's just going to collapse on itself.
Well, and the problem is, I think we all have questions, whether it's the offensive line or the offense in general, we all have questions about how talented they are, how good they are. But you may not get to those because of the line. Like, you don't even get to find out how good they are because of the limitations that could be in place just based on reps, personnel, changes. I mean, I think everyone is still holding out hope. Okay, well, it's no longer a month. Now it's closer to 3 weeks, but there's still a significant period of time before games, before you need your starting 5 out there, and you're still holding out hope you'll get your best 5. And who knows, maybe these reps and these opportunities kind of reconfigure the depth chart, and maybe you find someone in Mothie, or you find someone in So who ends up being a part of the picture that you didn't exactly think of 2 months ago when it was Anderson and Reif and McDermott. Who knows? We'll see where it all plays out. But I don't think there's any question. There is no bigger issue that this team needs to deal with than the offensive line. And I know we've talked about like the make or break year for Mac and how much pressure is on Billy O and all that. If you're going to be honest, you may not get to find that out depending on how the line produces, how the line plays. And that's, to me, that would be the most disappointing thing. If the line is banged up, so you never get 5 guys, and then once even you get some 5 guys, it's not good, and there's penalty because they're not good enough to overcome penalties or, a runaway rusher that turns. Maybe Ramondre has a good run on first down. So now we're at 2nd and 4 because he got a nice 6 yards.
Great.
We're doing play action because this is a great time for Mac is sacked, and now we're at 3rd and 11. And it's like, well, that 6-yard run went down the crapper pretty quickly, and they're not good enough to overcome those things. And I do worry that there's going to be too many of those things, lost yardage, because even we kind of gloss over it in the first game. Like the running game was adversely affected by the line as much as the passing game was. My guy, Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong.
Do you know what it was like? Hey, John Lyons trotted this stat out the other night, and he's got a good question coming up for us here in the mailbag. But John Lyons brought this out when I hosted the Rich Keefe Show Monday night on WEEI. When the Patriots ran to the left side against the Houston Texans. Ran, if you can see on YouTube, I'm using the giant rabbit ears because there wasn't much running. There was more just like praying and hustling and avoiding. They rushed the ball for, I think it was 11 times for 20 yards.
Sweet.
1.8 yards per carry.
You can
off
fall
left guard
forward
and
from
left
all that.
tackle. I'm honest to God. I mean, the only positive yardage in the run game, Kevin Harris just stymied. JJ Taylor, a couple scoots. Your leading rusher was Malik Cunningham, I think, with 34 yards. I mean, he got 27 on the final draft, and he's the freaking quarterback. Also, Matt Light did point out that the key to the whole thing, obviously, with the communication and good health, is David Andrews. And I want to ask you, Andy, full well knowing that, you need to have, Cole Strange's play improves drastically when David Andrews is out there. He's been pivotal with the development of Mike Onwenu as well. And who knows who may be coming in and out of this line now. Could have extra linemen with 11 personnel because you only have like a decent tight end right now. Would you play David Andrews in the preseason full well knowing how pivotal his health is to the line?
Probably not, because but also opportunities. Like I can get some guys out there to get some reps to see who they are. Because I think you know who David Andrews is. I think you're comfortable with he'll be ready. And just to sort of use David Andrews as a leaping off point, I have another, I don't know if it's a growing concern, just a thought.
Okay.
So we're talking a lot about guys that need to step up, guys that need to break out, guys that need to get back to whatever. We do a lot of that. Well, those are 50-50. We'll see how those play out with each individual guy. I'm also wondering sort of the opposite of that. David Andrews, Lawrence Guy, Adrian Phillips, Matthew Slater. Is there a concern that some of your stalwarts might start to show their age and might be more the name more than the performance? Like Lawrence Guy, I think, is one of the most underrated Patriots of the era. But if he's not as good, well, who's stepping up? Is Barmore stepping up? Is Keon White stepping up? Is Dietrich Wise taking it again to another? So there's a veteran core of old reliables, let's call them old Patriots reliables. Guy, Andrews, Slater, Phillips, kind of in that core. Even Jonathan Jones is not getting any younger, and now he's got whatever he's dealing with.
Over 2 weeks.
If those old reliables regress, to steal a word that was big around Mac Jones in the offense a year ago, if those old reliables regress, that's a problem, because now you can't hope for other guys to jump and be better and reach their potential. You need those guys to make a jump and reach their potential. So as much as we fixate on jumpers and positives, I think we have to fixate on some of these veteran reliables and check in like week 2, week 3 and say, are they as good as they've been for 5 years? Are they as good as we expect them to be? Or do we have even more holes that we didn't see coming because these guys are getting old?
Right. I'll even lump Adrian Phillips into that category as well. Like that, there's someone they're going to rely on at one of the only positions of depth being safety as well. Geez Louise, here everything was trending positive, and for some reason now all these elements of reality or questions continue to circle like vultures over the 2023 Patriots. They need good practice. I mean, the practices have been beneficial, but they need a showing on Saturday night. I can't promise I'm going to.
Is this a must-win preseason game?
Let's go to this question comes from. Hey, it's a must-win game, bro. This question, actually, Andy, here in the old mailbag early analysis portion of the Six Rings podcast, comes to you from
emails. Send in their
Good Morning Football. Just going to go ahead and just pod right past that one. It's gender-free. It's agenda-free and gender-free as well.
Oh, I like it.
Thank you.
Good. We should get t-shirts made.
All right, we'll get t-shirts made. Yeah, it sounds like Wiggy said both.
And Callahan one. Jerry, not Andrew.
Here we go. This question comes from Good Morning Football at GMFB. Is Mac Jones the quarterback with the most to prove in the AFC? Because Peter Schrager believes it was. Jason McCourty said it's Russell Wilson. Kyle Brandt on Wednesday's Good Morning Football said it's Tua, believe it or not. I think it's Deshaun Watson personally, but Mac's got to be right up there.
I think Mac is up there. I would also throw Herbert up there. At some point, he needs
just
to win
got
something.
Paid.
Right. At some point, I need to get like franchise return on investment from a guy who, he's cool. He throws a good ball, blah, blah, blah. He's skilled. Schefter believes he's already a Hall of Famer, that whole thing. well,
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe win something, do something with your
Yeah.
talent and a pretty good roster around you. Overcome your coach. If your coach is a problem, whatever, figure it out. But the one thing I will say that they're all candidates.
Mhm.
Watson is certainly an interesting one because of his contract.
Mhm.
It's all guaranteed, so he's doing okay for himself.
Yeah, and also missed 2/3 of the season last year, so now he's got to I think he needs to show up and validate the 46 million guaranteed that they're paying him.
The thing that I would say is Russell Wilson is battling to buff up his legacy because he is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback,
Mhm.
but boy has his legacy and his reputation taken a hit over the last couple of years with sort of retroactively people saying what happened late in his tenure in Seattle and then obviously what happened in Denver. But I would say Mac is a good answer because we've talked about this. His career's on the line. His hundreds of millions of dollar
Mhm.
contract is on the
Mhm.
line. His next step, whether it's a Patriots quarterback or a journeyman somewhere else, is on the line. So I think he probably does have the most to prove on the field and off the field, where he has to prove he can be, a cool, calm, collected leader of a franchise and not a McEnroe hothead.
Yeah, I mean, he's got doubters and detractors all over the media and the parking lots at Gillette, in the stands, may still even have some internally. Obviously, things did not go so swimmingly last year with he and his positional coaches, even his head coach. Now he's given, are they really giving him the best chance, though, at redemption with a line that has issues and is in complete flux, sometimes disarray, it seems? No elite wide receiver. I mean, if you want to talk about just giving fodder to the Belichick doesn't like Mac Jones crowd, and but why would Bill Belichick at the same time torpedo his own success? Just to, like, why would he cut off his nose to spite his face by not doing the most he can to help Mac Jones win? Because the way it kind of works is like if Mac Jones wins, Bill Belichick kind of wins too. You know how
It's
it
weird.
goes?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
kind of
really
weird.
weird. The correlation between the two. It's really strange. I
Damnedest
think we
thing.
just stumbled across something. Here we go. Okay, next coming up. Uh, 13 sacks, by the way, given up in the first day of combined practices. That's great. John Lyons, our pal at the station, wants to know, curious to know if you guys think a move of Onwenu to right tackle could happen and have one of the younger guys play right guard if the struggles continue. Now, Matt Light earlier this week said, gee whiz, he went to right tackle in a moment of need in 2020 and was terrific in his rookie season, 6th-rounder out of Michigan. Yet Bill continues to say, no, he's a guard. That's where he's going to play, guard. I mean, are we not near the point where you need to like kind of futz around with that if he can get healthy and come back? Because he was great out there. What do they not want to have to pay him as a tackle in case they hold on to him? Guards get paid too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's financial. I don't know if it's stubborn. Like, nope, we envision him as this, and we're going to prove that he is this. Because I think you reached the point last year with all the struggles at right tackle that he should have been a consideration for right tackle before Connor McDermott kind of swooped in and solidified it a little bit down the stretch. Yeah, I would have done it already. I would have done it last year. I would do it this year. I think it's easier to find a guard. I think it's easier to protect a guard in there. So if you have to put a City So or Mafi or even an aging guy like Reef, maybe you go, you know what? Reef has lost a little bit of lateral movement and athleticism. Maybe we can stash him at right guard as long as Onwenu's good enough at right. I would absolutely consider it. But my opinion doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. Matt Light's opinion doesn't matter. I'm not even sure Bill O'Brien and Adrian Clem's opinion matters. It seems like one opinion matters, and that is Bill Belichick.
Fair point. Joey Mack, with everything you've seen so far this summer, fellas, what do you put as the ceiling for this team?
The roof.
What is the nope. Once it, boy, Terp's going to have a lot of editing to do on this one. I'm going to miss out on half the podcast.
I would say the ceiling for this team is 9 wins.
Wow, you've dropped. Now we know that if you visit FanDuel right now, the betting line 7.5 wins. It has not moved one way or another. A lot of people are now starting to trend in the 7 or 6 direction. Although you still have plenty of people, Mac Island residents, big Billy O believers, who think that 10, 11 wins is possible for this team. I don't know.
Wait, is Billy O a magician? Because I'm a big Billy O believer.
Just like the illusionist that was on Hard Knocks episode 1 that like turned the deck of cards into like a little fishbowl.
Yeah, that's what
That's
you're going to
pretty
need from
impressive,
Billy O,
by the way.
because there are a few people that like and respect Billy O more than I do.
Yep.
And I mean, he can only do so much. I mean, you can only the chicken what can only be
Mhm.
turned into, at best, it's chicken salad. Now you're asking him to make like the best chicken parm
chicken
you've
a la
ever
king.
had
Yeah,
or
I know.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing. Like, and I am trending. I'll be honest, very honest. I had doubts and limited expectations heading into the season, and I'm trending negative from what I've seen. Lack of depth, offensive line continuing to go longer and longer as a question mark. I'm trending negative right now, which most people are like, no kidding, Andy. We've heard you before. You always trend negative. Not true.
I'm kind of going with like the record prediction palindrome. Either it's going to be 7-10 or 10-7. That's where I am. Like the
If
ceiling I
they
say
get
is
double-digit
10-7.
wins, you should run naked through the streets of Boston.
No one wants to see that. The idea is to celebrate, not wish away your days as a human being, because our time is fleeting in this earth to begin with. But that's where I am too. Like 10-7, just the record's too difficult. They got so much work to do. And even if they perform optimally, injuries are going to happen. There's too much talent in the division. 10-7, I got for a ceiling. Mike G, if the season begins tomorrow, is Booty on the roster?
No.
Practice squad.
Yeah, he just hasn't been. A, I thought he got off to a slow start to camp. And B, even when he's come on, he's been sort of inconsistent within some of those practices. I just need to see more. To me, he's a practice squad talent right now. Maybe he can jump up and do something in the coming preseason games and joint practices, but I just don't think he's worth a roster spot right now.
And these are two tough ones, Andy, but these are the people that follow us. These are the people with questions. These are the people that want their voices heard, and we are here to do nothing if not amplify them, answer them, potentially mock them, or sadly agree with them. Charlie Don't Surf wants to know, hey guys, what week will fans be wearing brown paper bags by at Gillette? He's going old school Jets and Aints fans on us? Wow.
Let's say, Aints week 5, right?
That would be one. After an 0-4 start, brown paper bags. Oh, Andy. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so, Jumbo.
Or late in week 7, you play the Bills. If you're taking another ass whooping from the Bills at that point, and you're like 1-5 or 1-6, whatever it would be at that point, 2 and something, I would put that as a possibility. Do you rule it out?
A brown paper bag? No, I don't. No, I
don't really either.
No, Andy, listen, the reason why, before I go in and do my, jumbo head on the Jumbotron routine in the stadium, watch the game, and then drive back to Brighton and do the post-game show with you, I spend time in the lots each and every week, because there is no better way. It's like the whole Tommy Boy thing, like, sticking your head up the cow's rear just to get a good look at the steak and take the butcher's word.
Yeah.
Ask the butcher. Exactly. So I stick my head up the proverbial cow's rear and ask the butcher by going out and trolling the lots for an hour and a half and just trying to get a feel for what's on the fans' mind. Last year, there was such palpable frustration from most of the fans. I'll just believe in everything Bill says, and I'm not worried about it. And Bill, we trust. They're the Patriots. You see that? That's the Patriot way, blah, blah, blah. Was ebbing and eroding significantly. Fans were telling me left and right, you don't need to hear it from social media. Go hear it from someone who's drinking their breakfast while they're frying up, so a little sausage and peppers, eggs and bacon, doing the buffalo chicken for breakfast. Highly underrated. Definitely recommend it. These people are frustrated, and it's not because they haven't been spoiled. Of course they've been spoiled. But when decisions like letting Tom Brady go and then turning the team into like a 500 competitor for several years in the turnaround are made, you're going to have fans saying, but wait, why did you do that? Because I liked what we had. Why did you tell me that we don't get to have that anymore? At no point were the fans like, yeah, let's move on from Brady. Great idea. There's a potential for not a revolt, but anger.
So I think paper bags might be a little extreme. The thing I was thinking,
plus you have to pay 10 cents a piece for them these days at Market Basket.
And I just found that out, and that is ridiculous. I hate it. It is the most asinine thing.
Go to Trader Joe's. They give them out for free.
So how long till like the restaurant charges me for fork rental and knife rental added on to the bottom of my bill? Like how long?
Would you be surprised if you were to go to a restaurant and you said, oh, miss, excuse me, I'd like to take this to go. Oh, there's a 50-cent upcharge for doggy boxes.
Yep. Nope. Well, guess what?
You know what? I'm putting the chicken parm in my pocket then.
Charge me whatever you want, because this is the last time you'll ever see me. Go pork yourself.
Wow.
Anyway, you know what I was wondering if you could see? Remember the famous Browns guy who did the quarterback jersey adding on to it, all the different nameplates. How long till we see like a Mac jersey with the Mac Jones crossed out and the nameplate says like who's next or something?
Well,
That's what I think you could
we've
see.
done Cam and Stidham technically, because Stidham was supposed to be the starter. So you could start, it would say Stidham and then Newton and now Mac Jones. Like,
I think you could see that.
You know, Andy, back in 2016, truly still to this day, one of my all-time favorite memories as a Pats fan was going to the Brady returns game in Cleveland, week 5. Cody Kessler got the start for the Browns. Brady came in, slow start for the defense, but they turned it around, whipped their ass. It was a Patriot fan takeover, and just the joy, like, God, that joy, you miss it so much. Just the connection, the appreciation from the fans. But I met the guy with the jersey. And it was like 17. Yeah, it was all electrical tape. Like it was like 17 long. It was now going down his ass. He almost needs to turn it into a dress. Hopefully they feel like they may have found their quarterback. That's why we think Deshaun Watson is one of the AFC QBs with the most approved. But I mean, just to think that the Pats could be ambling down that road, whether Mac Jones has it or they do him a disservice and don't give him an opportunity to prove that he doesn't belong on that wall of shame, the jersey of disregard and disrespect, if you will.
And these are the two franchises that'll be playing on Saturday night that have least lived that world. Or, I mean, you look at it, Brady and Bledsoe was 30 years or whatever it was, and Favre and Rodgers was
same thing,
30 years. And now
comparable, yes.
Right. Now you have Jordan Love and Mac Jones both trying to prove that they are franchise quarterbacks, and we shall see in this must-win Saturday night affair at Lambeau Field.
The last question, I'm going to ask Patriots at Patriots fan 1986's question, but I'm going to then spin it into a more pointed question as far as ownership and Patriots management goes. He asks, when will the media admit that this team is unbelievably boring? Being in Australia, we have to be up at 3 a.m. to watch it. It's a tough watch every week, not because they lose, but because they don't have a single player worth watching. I think there are players worth watching, and maybe this season will bring us more players worth watching, some possibly blooming, developing stars. We'll see. But my question off of this is, do you think ownership is concerned with the boredom factor? And from the Bengals game last Christmas Eve, where there were only 45,000 people there, and the preseason game where there were maybe 35,000, if we're being generous, do you think ownership is concerned with the fans' disengagement with this team?
Absolutely. Abso-damn-lutely. And first of all, I guess we're not media, which I guess is good, because if you haven't heard Six Rings talk about the entertainment value of this team going back 3 years now, Cam Newton, Mac Jones, the whole thing, then you haven't been paying attention. But we appreciate you listening in Australia. Good day, mate. Top of the morning to you down under. That was Irish and Australian. What are we doing here?
And kind of English. And
yep, there's a lot going on there. I didn't want to offend everybody, so
I love a good accent train wreck as much as the next fan.
Yep.
Go ahead.
But no, I firmly believe that the Crafts will be well aware of not just tickets sold, but asses in seats and showing up and engagement. They monitor everything from its internet articles to, social media engagement. They're always at the top of the X, I guess you call it now, followers and things of that nature. They'll absolutely be on that, because some of it is financial, obviously, but then some of it is just being ahead of the trends of your team. And how do we counter this? How do we deal with this? So yeah, I absolutely think Robert and certainly Jonathan Kraft, as they're going through the analytics, not just the visual, losing games, booze on the field, asses, but deeper analytical dives into their support and engagement with fans. They will absolutely be monitoring that this year, because they see and hear everything. They know that people are complaining, we don't have any stars and high-end talent. And I was really surprised. I was with my son and his friends the second that the Zeke news broke, and they weren't excited. It was weird. They were like, ugh, he's washed, and like, oh, that's what they're trying to serve us as a star, basically. Like there was distaste for that move, and I was surprised, and that's bad. If you're losing some young fans and the fans that are generally on the edge of their seat for such a signing and excited, like you might have a as the presidential candidates say, a likability or electability issue right now with this team.
A dark and dreary, dare I say, borderline dismal edition of the Six Rings mailbag. But unfortunately, we are left to traffic in the reality of the moment and the now. And the Pats have some work to do, and so do we. Our work is to try to cheer you guys up, or at least get you prepared for Patriots at Packers on Saturday night. and we will gladly do that, as well as give you the FanDuel Sportsbook 6 Rings Bet of the Week. Once again, 6 Rings and Football Things brought to you by your friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel, make every moment more. All right, now it is preview time. The New England Patriots have traveled to Green Bay. They have been joint practicing all week with Matt LaFleur's Green Bay Packers. As you pointed out in our mailbag portion of this week's podcast, Andy, two franchises that have experienced excellence, if not greatness at times, over the last 30 years with their quarterbacks, basically Favre into Rodgers. And then you've had Bledsoe into Brady. And now both teams searching for their next answer, for the answer at quarterback. Jordan Love now in his third year as well, but this is his first year as a starter. Mac Jones in his third year, technically his third year as a starter as well. But he should be further along than Jordan Love. Jordan Love looks to potentially be a great fit for what Matt LaFleur is doing on offense. Is Mac Jones the answer for the Patriots and Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick? These are some of the many questions we have, and we hope to find out more. Saturday night's game, 8 p.m. Eastern time. What's the first thing, Andy, that you will be looking for or toward Saturday night when the Pack and the Pats kick things off? Like, we expect the starters to be out there for at least the first couple series, right?
Well, yeah, but what I'll be looking for, I don't know if they'll be starters. I'll be looking for the people playing offensive line to see if they are competent and capable and competitive. Those C words we've been tossing around for the team. Yes. We will see if they can compete and show up. So, because it's the practice field and the preseason game field last week have been incredibly consistent, as in consistently bad for the offensive line. So
if we're going to stick around with C's, consistently crappy.
Yeah, it's been a real. Forget it. I won't keep going with C words.
That's
later we'll get in trouble.
Nope.
But it all starts there. Like, I want to see Mac do things. I want to see. Actually, I would probably put Ramondre Stevenson in the bubble wrap. I don't even know that I need to see Ramondre Stevenson. But whoever's running the ball, do they have holes? Whoever's throwing the ball, do they have protection? And there just hasn't been enough of that so far. And so that, I don't know how you could have any other answer than the offensive line and the guys that are blocking. That is the be-all, end-all, start-all.
Yeah, but I like, first off, I just want to remind everybody, and for some reason this seems to be an issue in New England with people that are probably on edge or, hiding their concerns and burying them under a defensive posture. But it is okay. I even said this last year when I was at a blood drive and I joined the Greg Hill Show live from Fenway Park for a while. Last year, I expressed my concerns over the development of the offense in preseason. And I told him live on air, like, guys, it's okay for your offense to look okay in the preseason. It's okay to score points in the preseason. It doesn't have to all just get chalked up to, Belichick's just running sims so he can learn and figure things out for the regular season. As we saw, the offense sucked in the preseason and the offense kind of sucked in the regular season. It's okay for the Patriots to actually electrify the fans. It's okay for them to turn heads on the field. It's okay for them to make the broadcasters say, wow, I didn't see that coming. What a play. There's been zero of that, save for Malik Cunningham running the ball in the fourth quarter. I know it's only one preseason game, but like, you know what I need to see? I want to see Mac Jones complete a couple of downfield passes. I would like to see some plays where Green Bay gets put on their ass. I'd like to see the Patriots, God forbid, dominate for just even 30 seconds or a minute-long stretch, because they just got pushed around by and large, save for a little Jalen Mills and Keon White action last week. It's like a snooze. It's okay. Like, how many players have we seen break out so far in the preseason? We've seen Tank Bigsby in Jacksonville, Deuce Vaughn lighting it up down there, a little fight, like guy who makes JJ Taylor look like Hakeem Olajuwon down there in Dallas. Bengals, Packers, their first game was really entertaining as well. The Jets have looked good for the better part of the preseason. Like, it's okay to step out and have a really awesome drive and go down and shove it down the Packers' throat and score a touchdown.
Right. For example, just run Tyquan Thornton straight down the field at 4.2 whatever and throw it
to him.
See what can happen.
Yeah.
I'm all for that, because that would fall under the Andy Hart rule of entertain me, because, sometimes entertainment value is far and fleeting in preseason games. So yes, I would agree with you on the entertainment part. The flip side of the ball, you're going to go against probably a primarily starters on the Packers offensive line. Let's see the defense that we've been raving about for weeks and weeks, whether it was preseason, before the season when we were like theorizing the defense can be good, or then on the practice field and the game field saying, oh yeah, this looks like it could be good. Continue to do that. Take the next step. You have some young receivers. on the Packers side of the ball versus young corners on the Patriots side of the ball. So kind of a fair matchup. It's not like you're putting Christian Gonzalez against a wily veteran. It's young versus young. It's upside versus upside. So let's see what this young defense and pass rush and everything can do against Jordan Love and company.
Exactly. You're going to see a mobile quarterback. You're going to see speedy young receivers. You're going to see speedy tight ends as well. Musgrave is a handful. Could be a nice little sneaky steal for them.
He could be a problem.
Yeah,
he could be for this defense. Like if I were doing a regular season preview, I like the Patriots safeties. I don't think any of the Patriots safeties, other than maybe Mills, can cover him. And like I think Kyle Duggar, we've talked a little bit about this. Like he'll have interceptions in camp, and everybody's like, "Oh, Kyle Duggar," and it's like, yeah, but 3 or 4 of the other plays before that, he was getting toasted by Hunter Henry or Mike Gesicki, and I'm not sure coverage is his thing. So that tight end issue could be a matchup for this defense if we were talking about early and it mattering and pretending this is real football.
Of course, and lest we forget, or at least we mention Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. They've got great backs, obviously both veterans at this point, but they've got speed. They're great on the wheel routes, great in the flat, screen passes, power runs up the gut. I think the Patriots will get tested appropriately at just about every point of interest along the line, out in space, down the field, and then flip it to the other side. The Packers have a good pass rush. They have good corners in Rasul Douglas and Jair Alexander. Like, I think this is a perfect test for every element of the Patriots that we're interested in, curious about, or have our reasonable concerns. Andy, tell me a couple of players that you'll have your eye on Saturday night because you think they may be either competing for their job or competing for a spot on the roster.
Well, I will go back to the guy that I find curious last week, Jalen Mills. What's his role? What are his reps? Because it'll be like last week he was with the ones that weren't the ones, because the real ones were watching from the sideline. This week, if he doesn't see a lot of early time and then is on the field with the quote unquote twos, he might just be a 2 who's fighting for his job kind of guy. Adrian Phillips, I'll keep an eye on his usage because I know he's been a popular surprise cut candidate. It'll be interesting to see Trent Brown get out there and start to have, if he has them. And then the guy I talked about last week, I think maybe we're going to get a little taste of the rookie sensation, overrated, underrated, whatever you want to call him, Marte Mapu, and what he can do physically. Because there's a guy that if you want to match up a versatile athletic defensive back linebacker type with a versatile athletic tight end, maybe that's a matchup you see some form of early on to see what this youngster can do with some live game action. So those guys, and then it's not sexy, but we got a kicking battle going on with Ryland and Nick Folk. Kind of what happens there, who gets reps. We talked about it last week, even in the punting game. Like, I want to see these guys that are young opportunities / be put in position to succeed and or fail, like put a little pressure on him. So Nick Folk, Chad Ryland, and even my guy Behringer, boom the ball, Lambeau Field, get it up through the wind stream. The tundra's not frozen, so it should be a fine night to kick.
Exactly. Now, Behringer has all but had his job secured because Waitman was wearing 15 during pretend season and training camp, and they just gave that to Zeke. So I'm pretty comfortable and confident, to use more C words, that Bryce Behringer has won the job. I know he shanked a couple, but he got some nice Foxborough rolls, or what do you guys like to call them? The
Romanian rolls back in
the Romanian rolls for Zoltan Mesko. That's right. Don't mess with the Zoltan. The kicking battle bears watching. Can my guy Big Kick Nick hold on to his job and withstand the charge from 4th round draft pick Chad Ryland? Ryland had a tough day enjoying practices. I know the win was a factor late. Folk doesn't have the leg he does, but he's obviously got the accuracy. Would they consider keeping 2? And if they do, oh my God, what does that say about the depth at so many other positions where the Patriots are desperate for quality play or star power? Yeah, the offensive line needs to be watched. I would love, now you mentioned it earlier in the entertainment factor portion of our preview. I would love to see Tyquan Thornton make some freaking plays.
Just throw him the ball. Agreed.
Yeah.
Just throw him the ball, see what he can do. If he gets broken, he gets broken. If he doesn't do it, he doesn't do it.
Throw a bunch of, let's see a 15-yard out. Let's see 20 yards down the seam and see if he can avoid. Feed him, Zeke Thornton
style.
No, he literally needs to be fed because he's so small. I don't need to see Ezekiel Elliott. He needs to round up into shape. And
he's rounded out into shape.
Yeah. I walked right into that one.
Lean into shape.
But now Pierre Strong is a little bit dinged up. We may not see him. Who the hell else is going to like? Are we going to see Micah Vanterpool, the USFL tackle that they signed out of Hawaii, who played at Hawaii? Are we going to see Caramello, whatever his name is, the running back?
Maribel is a human being and he has feelings.
Okay. Am I going to put some respect on that name after Saturday?
You should.
You think? I mean, he's obviously going to get meaningful reps because they don't have many other running backs.
What'd you pull out earlier? Meaningful.
Okay. Well, who would you rather see toting the ball Saturday night?
Kevin Harris.
After Harris, it's going to have to be somebody else.
Just all Harris.
All Harris. Just run him into the ground.
Because I saw people saying like the performance last week was like why they had to sign Zeke, blah, blah, blah. Zeke, I think you could have put Barry Sanders behind that offensive line last week and he wouldn't have gotten positive.
Gale Sayers would have actually had his lunch handed to him.
Jim Brown, whoever you want to pick. So I'd like to see, similar to Thornton, in a different level of the roster, but I'd like to see Kevin Harris get some consistent. You're going to get 3 series in a row in the first or second quarter here. I want to see what you can do. At some point, I need positive yards. I need broken tackles. I need you to show that you're a big back who can do the job. So I would like to see an extended period of Kevin Harris. Yes.
Okay. I wouldn't mind seeing Maribel just to see if we can have a camp star or somebody who can flash and do a little extra something. I can't believe.
How about backup tight ends? How about next in line tight ends? Anthony Ferkser. These other guys.
Lumpkin, Sokol, Lumpkin, and Ferkser. Worst law firm ever. I'm not taking any of my business there. But right now, it sounds like Ferkser's grasping a hold of the job that could potentially be his, depending on how that mild dislocation of the shoulder for Mike Gesicki goes. Again, not
2
great.
tight end sets with Ferkser
and Henry. Oh, God. What happened? Remember when this was fun?
It still is fun. See, I get joy out of football because I love football and I love the unknown. And guess what?
Right.
Just like last week, and we haven't even mentioned a name, a name that we probably should mention. Malik Cunningham was the star of last week, right?
Yep.
That game sucked without Malik Cunningham.
Yeah.
There will be another guy this week Demario Douglas, Tyquan Thornton. I don't know who it's going to be, whether it's the starters and high-end guys who didn't play last week getting their chance. And maybe it's 3 plays. Remember last week we said, oh, that's a good catch from Thornton. Maybe it's Bourne who gets 3 plays. One's on a motion, jet sweeps, and you're like, are they going to
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah.
So there will be upside. When we do our immediate reactions after the game or Sunday or whenever the hell we're doing them, we'll have
be on at 10 a.m. on Sunday. Yep.
Oh, yeah. We'll have upside ones. Now, there'll be downside ones. We might still be bitching about the line. We might be bitching about, Keon White came back to reality when he got a little earlier rep. Or Christian Gonzalez, oh, boy, he was chasing Christian Watson or something. But there are going to be pros and cons coming out of this game because there have been of every game I've covered for the last 24 years.
Yes, I agree. There will be pros and cons. Sunday we'll have our ups and downs and more. Yes, a good camp competition battle.
It's
seeing
fun.
Who can make 52. Of course it's fun. I'm just sort of lamenting the fact that we're like grasping for I can't wait to see blank or this guy's going to light camp up.
I'll give you one. I'll give you one that will ignite not just Patriot Nation, but the entire football-loving planet. Pat McAfee, the overrated podcast guy that he is.
You're just jealous of his millions.
True.
Okay.
How about, let's just say it's the 7th, 8th, 9th play of the game. I don't know if it's good first series or it's the second series. Mac has gotten, it's now 3rd and 5.
Okay. Ooh, tough down.
Is that Malik Cunningham coming on the field? Is Mac jogging off? Is that Malik?
Bring it. Oh, now see that all of a sudden you just took a perfunctory activity and practice repetition and pretend football and made it exciting.
And
Malik
then
Cunningham comes onto the
right. He's looking for Kendrick Bourne covered by Jair Alexander. Oh, that's Jair Alexander's running the touchdown Packers.
At least we'll have something to talk about. I would give him a couple snaps with the ones. Don't just make it a 4th quarter show. I think we will see significant action for Malik Cunningham because they need to know if he can be a 3rd quarterback on the roster. He's gotten work at gunner, receiver, and quarterback so far in camp. They're doing everything they can to try to make this guy make their roster. All right, Andy, and now it is time for us to make the people some money. That's right. It is the 6 Rings and Football Things FanDuel Sportsbook Bet of the Week. FanDuel, make every moment more. Last week, of course, we were 2-0 with our inaugural Six Rings FanDuel Bet of the Week. And like the degenerates we are, we're betting on the preseason. Why? Because we can't get enough. And like you say, Andy, it's entertainment. It's fun. And right now it's with funny money. Although when the regular season starts and we're putting real money on it, may get a little more interesting. All right. Last week you said Texans, they were 3.5-point favorites at Gillette. They win 20-9. Your pick went that way because you liked their depth at quarterback and you thought their bench players would be better. Pats had no starters in the game. I went with the under. Traditionally, the Patriots are not big scorers in the preseason. It was 36.5 at kickoff, and the final score was 20-9. Andy, I will give you first pick once again. Where are you going with your FanDuel Six Rings Bet of the Week? Pats at Packers. The Packers are 3.5-point favorites.
Yeah, so sadly for Patriots fans, not that winning and losing in the preseason really matters, although it does matter to the Baltimore Ravens, who've won 24 straight or 25 straight.
Mm-hmm. See that receiver, by the way, from Boston College for them, that that Flowers kid?
It's weird. The guy that I wanted that is lighting up the summer, and people are like, oh my God, this guy is a ridiculous weapon and all these things. But I'm going to go with the Packers to win by 1 to 13 points in that point range. I don't know if people are aware of this. Is a little like more bets you can do on the FanDuel app. And so I think the Packers will win this game. I think they have the better starting unit. I think you're going to see Jordan Love probably make some plays. And I think you're probably going to see Mac under duress with that offensive line. And then who knows? It's preseason football. Who knows what happens when you get Malik Cunningham on the field or whoever the hell else. But give me the Packers to win by 1 to 13 points. I believe it's coming in right now at about plus 150 on the FanDuel app. So I like the value there as well. And I'm looking to move to 2-0.
Last week, the Packers, very good pick. That was actually going to be my pick as well. You stole it right out from under me, but that's okay because I feel reasonably confident and comfortable in my selection as well. In their first pretend season game, the Packers won 36-19 over the Cincinnati Bengals, proving once again scoring is legal and allowed in the preseason. Backup quarterback Sean Clifford went 20 of 26, 1 tutty, 2 picks, but had over 200 yards. They had a running back by the name of Emmanuel Wilson with 111 yards as a backup.
Wilson!
Who doesn't love a good Wilson? So do I see the Packers putting up 36 points? No, but the over-under is only 37. Will the Patriots probably get to somewhere between 10 and 17? Yes, which means the Packers only need to put up between 20 and 24 points. I see this maybe like a Packers 27, Patriots 17 kind of affair. So I will take it minus 105, the over in Patriots at Packers.
Ooh, over.
Give me the
I'm always happy to root for the over in a preseason game because it means there's plays happening, being given up, made, whatever, however you want to put it. Plays are happening. Let's go.
Pick sixes, big kicks, bomb throws, Hail Marys, whatever it is. Get the kids out there, run them, score them. And that's what we got. So once again, your Six Rings FanDuel Sportsbook bets of the week for pretend season week number 2. Andy Hart has the Packers winning by 1 to 13 points at plus 150. And at minus 105, Andy's dog, who can currently be seen next to the second mic at Andy's home office desk studio, he's super interested in my pick of over 37 points at minus 105. All right, Andy, any final thoughts here as we wrap up this excellent Pats Packers pretend season week 2 preview episode of Six Rings?
I think I am always a contrarian because I feel like some fans are becoming less interested in this team as the preseason wears on and they're getting more worried and some of that. I'm more interested. I'm more interested to just see what Bill does, what Bill O'Brien does, how they react, the tough schedule. It may go well, it may not go well, but I'm really becoming more interested to see how the Patriots handle their business, as they say, coming up in September. But we still got a few weeks to go before we get there.
Business, growth, adversity, all of it. We're here for all of it. You can follow along with us at Six Rings Pod, at Jumbo Hart, at Fitzy GFY, and of course, a contributor to the Six Rings and Football Things podcast and our beat writer extraordinaire at weei.com at Mike Kadlick with a K. We'll have updates throughout the week, all Saturday night long. Andy and I will do a, shall we say, belated version of the Six Rings postgame show when we do the Fitzy and Hart program Sunday, 10 to 12:30 p. on WEEI and all across the WEEI Sports Radio Network. For producer Justin Turpin, our friends at FanDuel, the sponsor of the Six Rings and Football Things podcast. FanDuel, make every moment more. Andy Hart, his dog behind us, who kept us entertained for a large portion of the podcast, and your old pal, Nick Fitzy-Stevens. This has been Six Rings and Football Things, a presentation of WEEI Odyssey and 2400 Sports. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will talk to you soon. Good day. God bless. And not go, Pack, go. Let's go, Pats.